This is Najeela the Blade Blossom, and this is why my friends hate her. So Najeela is a red and 2 for a 3/2 human warrior from Battle Bond. I think I bought 2 boxes of this, and both were just got so much neat fun stuff out of it. There's no shortage of just absolute fun junk in that set. Her abilities. So whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior token that's tapped and attacking. That's not just when you attack, by the way. If other people attack, they can throw a warrior into play, and they get to decide who it's attacking. It lets you play a little bit of politics. Also, you can play Warbig, that white, blue, black, red, green down there. Untap all of your stuff. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn, and then you get a second attack. At which point, you run again, and you make a whole bunch more warriors. So the obvious solution is just spam warriors, which is what the deck does. There's 2,000 different Najeela decks on EDH Rec. I find a lot of them involve a lot of non-warrior stuff. If I'm going to make a tightly themed creature deck, we're going completely tight. So when it comes to warriors, there are an awful lot of them. Right off the top, two of your choices are going to be things like Brighthearth Banneret and Bramblewood Paragon. Banneret is going to make all of your warriors cost 1 less, which is kind of important. It's not a competitive deck, but you still want it to be fast. Bramblewood Paragon makes them come into play with an extra +1/+1 token, so they're a bit bigger. Bloodchin Rager attacks gives them menace. Realmwalker just actually gave me a place to put the Realmwalker I got with my Kaldhesh box. Lets you play them off the top of your library, as long as you choose Warrior as a creature type. I can't see why you wouldn't, given the deck you're playing. Decorated Champion gets bigger with more warriors. Champion of Lambholt makes things really hard to block, because it gets bigger with every creature you play. Thrasher Brute steals life from your opponents. Rise the Redeemed will double tokens. He's also a 1 casting cost warrior, so he's not terrible to have in there. And then with all these tokens you're making, Nadir's Nightblade makes it, if you lose any, you're still not really losing that much, are you? And actually, Winota has one of the stranger interactions with this deck, in that every time you attack with a non-human, you can look at the top 6 cards of your library, put a human card among them tapped and attacking. You see Najeela there. Whenever a warrior attacks, you get a 1/1 white warrior creature token. Now, they don't count as humans, because you don't have the creature type human. So every time one of the token attacks, you get the chance to go for one of your humans in the deck. I think I'm running 14, if I include the 4 different nice, cheap, efficient changelings we've got in there. 14 out of 100? Well, no, it'd be 92. In the high 80s by the time I get there. So, theoretically, every couple of warriors you attack with should throw another body on the table. That being said, I have managed to completely whiff with 5 creatures, because all the humans in my deck were hiding in the very goddamn bottom. I kind of want to build a deck just around Winota. The problem is that the non-human-human interaction there, I'm not entirely sure how to do it yet. Maybe in the future. So to keep going, we've got some nice, cheap, efficient warriors here. Pelt Collector should get bigger over the course of the game. Wild Nactal might take a while to be a 3/3, but you should get there. Urg Raiders, I remember Urg Raiders from so long ago. Yeah, it's a 2 casting cost, 2/3 attack every turn. The deck intends to attack every turn anyway, so you might as well attack with something slightly more efficient than a regular vanilla 2/2. Honored Crop Captain gives your attackers +1/+0. Kargan War Leader gives all of your warriors +1/+1. Torian Mauler gets bigger during the game. And with Miri, so when she attacks, each opponent can't block with more than 1 creature this combat. So if you have anything too big for them to kill with 1 creature, you're doing fine. Granted, you're going to attack with a lot of tokens and a lot of small stuff, but if all they've got to block with is 1/1s, they're not going to be able to gang up to gang block a lot of your stuff. Plus, once she has attacked, you can only get attacked by 1 creature. So while you can swing out with a whole bunch of stuff, you really only have to worry about 1 or 2 things coming back your way, and if you can pull it off early enough, the 1 or 2 you take from early creatures shouldn't really matter all that much. Plus, if you've managed to ever untap all your stuff with Najeela and attack again, you got the lifelink, you're not worried quite as much about getting hit back by 1 or 2 things. That said, a little spot removal does go a long way. So to round out some of the other more interesting creatures, Brutal Horde Chief will let you mess with your opponent's attempts to block your attempts to squash them. Duskwatch Recruiter lets you dig to the top few cards of your deck for more cards. goofed and put Miri on here twice, but we won't worry about that. Ogre Battle Driver says your tokens will come into play as 3 1s instead of 1 1s, which makes them that much more efficient. Garner the Blood Flame helps recover after a board wipe. The deck is really susceptible to board wipes because you have to keep doing stuff in order for the deck to fire. If the moment you stop, you start having troubles. Neheb and Rada will give you a bunch of mana. And at the very top, very end of that mana curve is a Bold Weir Intimidator, just because it's fun to make other people's creatures into cowards so they can't block any of your warriors. So for support, Etchings of the Chosen gives all creatures of the Chosen type +1/+1, and you can sack one of them to make the rest indestructible, which helps make them a bit more resilient, considering you do have a lot of tokens, right? Eldrazi Monument will make them flying and indestructible and slightly better, and of course there's always a Chroma's Memorial up there at the top. The mana base for this deck is an absolute nightmare of everything I could throw into it. Yes, a couple of those cards are kind of big. Again, I've been playing since '94. I've managed to accumulate a few. The main problem is trying to get the blue. Now, the vast majority of the deck skews... I can't even say Jund. There's not a lot of actual... there's no actual blue cards in the deck, because most blue warriors, let's face it, blue's not really great at small creature combat. They get big fat flyers, but not so much for warriors. So the problem comes in trying to make sure you have blue. You throw in a whole bunch of stuff to give you all the colors you need. Because, trust me, the sooner you can pull off that Werbig there and make the second swing, the more fun you're going to have. That said, Werbig isn't absolutely impossible. You've got Cascading Cataracts and Crystal Quarry that will give you Werbig if you throw enough mana into it. Callidio Stone is a one-shot Werbig. And you always got some of the easier color lands like Command Tower. And Base Camp works surprisingly well in here because, well, all the creatures are warriors. And one of the reasons my friends hate this deck most is it must attack. And it must attack as often as possible. As often as it can. And it cannot let up. And more often than not, it wins. And sometimes it just weighs down and dies. It's the way the cards fall, right? Well, if you like the deck, if you don't like the deck, any suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments. And I will be back with another Commander next week. See you in the future.